Hello, and welcome back to another Weird High School Forensics podcast. Today you are speaking with Alita,
Finch,
Tyler,
Kalisa,
and today we'll be talking about the case of Anatoly Moskvin, the Lord of the Mummies. Anatoly Yuryevich Moskvin was born on September 1st, 1966 in Nizhny Novgorod, Russia. He was a locally known academic who wrote multiple books and papers. He was known for being a linguist and historian in his local university.
Anatoly was always interested in macabre topics involving the dead and the occult ever since a young age. He would peruse cemeteries. He was secluded and didn't have many friends. When he was 13, he was walking home from school, where a group of men in black stopped him and dragged him over to the funeral of a young girl named Natasha Petrova. They then proceeded to force young Anatoly to kiss the girl's corpse. He kissed her multiple times, saying he enjoyed it. The ritual then ended with the mother of the young girl placing rings on her dead daughter's and Anatoly's fingers. He quoted, "My strange marriage with Natasha Petrova was useful for his developing interest in serious magic ceremony."
Later in life, Moskvin graduated from the philological faculty of Moscow University. He wrote several history books, worked as a freelance journalist, and often wrote about death and cemeteries. He wanted to become an English teacher for children. He became interested in Celtic history. In Soviet times, he worked as a translator for military intelligence in the Red Army and later wrote several history books. He started becoming obsessed with occult and death, going as far to describe himself as a necropolist. He was an expert on local cemeteries in Nizhny Novgorod.
In 2005, Moskvin was paid by Oleg Ryabov, the director of Books Publishing House, to document all the dead in over 700 cemeteries in 40 regions
within the Nizhny Novgorod region. He claimed to have walked over 30 kilometers a day, stopping to sleep in haystacks, sleep on graves, drink from puddles, and even sleep in a coffin being prepared for a funeral. He completed the mission in 2007, saying he went to 752 cemeteries in total. Police suspected him of grave robbing and vandalism, but ultimately never arrested him. While this appeared to be an odd commission, he was taking advantage of the job.
Over the span of 10 years, Moskvin would exhume, mummify, and take home the bodies of girls ranging from 3 to 25 years old. Always wanted a daughter, but was denied for adoption due to his low income. His plan was to resurrect girls through science or magic to make them his children. He would read obituaries and select girls that caught his attention. He would sleep on graves. He believed sleeping on the graves would allow him to communicate to the girls through their dreams and have permission to take them home.
He turned them into dolls and then treated the dolls like his children. He threw birthday parties for them, celebrated holidays, watched cartoons with them, played with them, and sang with them. He kept these human dolls all throughout his house, on furniture, in clutter, in his room, on shelves, and he kept the ones that he didn't like as much in the garage. Upon investigating the house, the police initially thought there were 29, but later confirmed to be 26 dolls. They found the plaques from graves, chunks of gravestones, personal items inside of the bodies, and found a manual for making dolls. There were even videos showing him digging graves and exhuming bodies.
In later questioning, Moskvin justified his action, saying that the girls were calling to be rescued. He decorated their bodies so they would be more comfortable with their appearance when they came back to life. He quoted, "I don't think anyone in the city knows them better than I do," he said in his extensive knowledge of his region's dead. Moskvin denied any sexual attraction to the girls.
He was finally caught in a cemetery where he was painting over pictures of dead Muslims, but not damaging anything. Police went to his apartment where they discovered 26 corpses among his piles of paper and miscellaneous belongings. Over the years, his neighbors admitted to smelling dead bodies. They saw him carrying bags of goods in black trash bags. His parents also lived with him. They saw nothing wrong with the dolls. They thought that he had an odd hobby or obsession. Moskvin was arrested in 2011, and he admitted to desecrating the graves of the 44 girls while on trial. He was also diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, but was put into a psych clinic.
He showed no remorse for his actions. Moskvin stated that they shouldn't bother reburying the girls because he just dig them up again multiple times. Most recently, in 2019, he was requested for release but was denied.
He told the police his first victim was Olga Chardomova, a 10-year-old murder victim. Her mother, Natalia Chardomova, said, "I still find it hard to grasp that the scale of his sickening work. But for 9 years, he was living with my mummified daughter in his bedroom. I had her for 10 years, he had her for 9. For 9 years, he left notes on her grave." Another quote from the mother is, you can't begin to imagine it, that somebody would touch the grave of your child, the most holy place in the world for you. We had been visiting the grave of our child for 9 years, and we had no idea it was empty. Instead, she was in the beast's apartment.
Natalia also mentioned the same month they found a note signed with the 2 letters DA, standing for Dobry Angel or Kind Angel, the chilling way Moskvin described himself.
She said these sick anonymous notes were addressed to my daughter, calling her little lady. He congratulated her on all the public holidays. He remembered about September 1st each year, the first day of school year in Russia, and the last school bell in May.
Now our group would like to continue with some open discussion about, like, what we think and some stuff that we'd like to bring up again and kind of conversate about.
One point I'd first like to bring up is how he's currently trying to be facilitated out of the mental hospital that he's currently in right now. Even though he's formally not apologized to the families and says that possibly if he gets let out, he will just re-dig up the bodies.
I don't know how they think it's okay to release him.
I
It's
don't-
disgusting.
And, like, they've denied him multiple times, and these psychiatrists that are, like, studying him have to be absolutely out of their minds, because, like...
And they say
They-
he's stable enough, yeah.
He
Yes.
literally threatened to do it again.
Exactly.
Exactly. I'm glad they're not letting him out, but, like, I'm surprised he has a girlfriend. I'm just...
Yeah.
Who wants to marry him? Like, who? I want to know.
Disgusting.
Also, another thing I'd like to bring up is that these psychiatrists also said that he could be released and be underneath of, like, family supervision. What makes you think that he won't do this again?
Considering his parents were
literally
oblivious.
lived with him. Like, what makes you think that he won't just go and do this again? So it's definitely very good that he is being kept in.
A psych ward.
Oh yeah,
Solitary,
Most definitely.
To be honest, I'm kind of glad that he could never adopt a child, because what would he have done with that?
Literally.
Like, what would he have done with a live child, let
'Cause
alone a dead one?
He was denied because of low income. This was before, like, he started these crimes, correct?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yes, so he was definitely, he was denied the adoption of a child because of income, so that's good.
If this guy loved his daughters so much, then why did he just leave them on shelves and in the garage? Like,
Literally, like, he put them, like, everywhere. Like, he just set them places.
And the ones he didn't like as much as the other ones, he'd just throw away in his garage
They,
and just
like,
mistreat them.
He
But
just
said
lay
they
them in
loved
there.
him.
Yeah. Also, another thing, it was said that his parents lived with him. So, like, how did they not notice
Smell
the
it.
smell? Or notice, these dolls are abnormally large and body-like. What's going on here?
there's also 26 of them.
Yes.
And also, it said they didn't live there, like, 100% of the time. So you'd notice the smell even more when you walked in, wouldn't you? Because you wouldn't be nose blind to it.
And it was said that neighbors noticed a smell too, but they just chalked it up to being a dead animal.
Yeah, and they saw him carrying in black bags and bags full of women's clothes.
In big, bulky backpacks, but they didn't think that was suspicious in any way.
We have
No, not
some
suspicious at
we have
all.
some quotes here from the parents that Finch is going to read.
They said they didn't know anything about the dolls. Like, his mom said, "We saw these dolls, but we did not suspect there were dead bodies inside. We thought it was his hobby to make such big dolls and did not see anything wrong with it."
Again, the smell though, like how would they not smell that?
Again, you don't think that, like, with how also, just to mention, their apartment was also, they were hoarders. I'm watching the walkthrough, there was stuff absolutely everywhere. So you don't think that he would, like, it had to have been not clean. Like, there definitely had to be, like, body parts, skin, like, things, like, laying places.
Yeah, like where would he perform these actions?
maybe
on
not
the
body parts, but, like,
He probably performed them in the garage.
evidence that there was a body there, that there was probably something that was definitely made that evident.
He
Yeah.
kept them in his bedroom.
In
his
his bedroom.
garage and the living
Yeah, but
room.
here's the thing. Why put the ones you don't like in the garage if you really don't like them, why did you dig them up in the first
Yeah,
place?
you could have just left them there. You could have just let them rest. You're not doing them
Exactly.
a favor.
You
But
don't
instead, he destroyed their bodies.
Exactly. He's gonna
and
get
their
haunted.
graves.
He's getting haunted. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, yeah, definitely. These
Like,
people
this
are like,
is sickening. I feel sick.
We also want to kind of, like, bring to view that there are a lot of red flags that his parents just blatantly missed altogether.
Like, if they, like, maybe looked into his childhood a bit and saw these, maybe some things could have been prevented. Maybe he could have gotten the treatment he needed from his, like, schizophrenia.
Yeah, I definitely think that the reason he fantasized so long about having kids was partially because of his schizophrenia.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with taking an interest in mortality, but like whenever it gets to a certain extreme, there definitely should be something taken to be like, hey, you know, what's going on here?
I think it draws a line when you're sleeping on graves.
Oh,
Yeah.
even before that, yes.
Yeah, but
Desecrating graves.
Yeah, but there's also a wall and or a line that you can't cross, and that is definitely one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
It's okay to visit, but you should not be sleeping on the graves, like, most definitely. Sorry, we had a little bit of a mishap, but that was unrelated.
Finally, we want to share our condolences to all of his 26 victims. They did not deserve any of this. It seems that only Olga Tarnimova was the only girl whose identity was known publicly. So in respect of the other victims, we're not going to try to find their identities or anything. We want to keep that secret because it seems that their families wanted that.
Overall, this is a very sickening and disgusting case. It's definitely not something that should be looked lightly upon.
And personally, I am so sorry for all the victims that you have to go through with this, and rest in peace.
And for their families, like, I couldn't imagine the pain that they're going through from this. I'm
also,
just so sorry.
exactly.
The fact that a lot of their families, like, this only happened in 2011 through 12, like, even before that. This is still very recent, so a lot of the families are still living with this pain today of knowing that this is what happened.
And it really hurts to know.
Like, already losing your child, then realizing that you lost your child again. Like, I can't imagine that.
Especially to highlight on Olga's mother. Olga was sadly murdered a couple years before Moskvin had dug her up. We have severe condolences for her and everything that she's lost and everything she's going through.
I definitely want to give her credit because not only is she, like, dealing with this, she's choosing to relive it publicly and share her pain, and that has to take, like, a lot of bravery.
Spoken out against what he's done to prevent him from possibly being set free and committing acts like this again and harming more families.
Yes, because like we said, we weren't actually able to find the names of any of the other victims, and that could be that these people decided not to share the names of their children just in fear that something like this may happen again, and that is 100% respectable because obviously this is a very unfortunate event and it should have never happened in the first place. We feel very sorry for all of these people who have to live with this on their conscience for the rest of their lives.
And it takes a lot of effort, like, to speak out publicly and not to cry during it because it's, like, so traumatizing and hard.
With the pictures, you can really just see, like,
What
how
he did.
sunken in and, like, sad that the mother is. It's horrible.
Yes, that is a very tragic event that would happen to her. So with that, we're going to go ahead and end this podcast here. We hope you've learned something. Signing off is Alita,
Finch.
Tyler.
Kalisa.